Dirk Schluenz. Was that okay?
Perfect. Perfectly pronounced.
You said like Dirk Nowitzki and Schluenz. You've been in Israel how long now?
I've been living here for 10 years now.
Okay.
And,
how's your Hebrew?
Kacha kacha.
Kacha kacha.
No, I'm learning with my kids. When I came here, I was supposed to stay only for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
After having lived also in Italy, Czech Republic, Spain, and so on. Mm-hmm. And always started to learn the language.
Every place you arrive at.
I started to learn the language. When I came to Israel, to be honest, I thought it's going to be for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I said, okay, now to start Hebrew. So, and then it became another 2 years. And eventually now it's 10.
10 years. Okay, we'll get into that. I have to say, to tell the listeners, I will explain in Hebrew. דרק מדבר אנגלית, כמו שהבנתם. הוא מגיע לנו מגרמניה. אני מדי פעם אני אעצור ואני אגיד כמה מילים בעברית להסביר את הנקודות החשובות, אבל הרעיון הזה יתנהל באנגלית ברובו. Okay, so before we get really into it, give us a breakdown of what it is you do and when did you get to start? Were you ever a football player yourself?
Well, I had been playing when I was a child till I was 14 for a team in Germany called SV Darmstadt 98, which might be known to the one or other because they have been playing in the Bundesliga last year. Mm-hmm. They got relegated. Oh. So I was, but it really...
It's because you're not playing.
Yeah, obviously. No, it's a really small team and I've been playing till I was 14. Actually, then I was a basketball player and also basketball coach. So I'm more consider myself as a basketball player and coach these days rather than a football player myself.
And then you got into the managerial side, the business side.
You know, while running an amateur basketball club in Germany, I got more interested in the managerial side of sports. And eventually, like almost 20 years ago, in 2000, I started my career in professional sports management in Germany, working for one of the biggest agency, that time Sport 5. Today it's called Lagardère, French company.
So tell us, I know Sport 5 deals with some of the biggest clubs and bodies in the world. Give us a breakdown of what it is exactly that company like that does.
Yeah, no, it's today still one of the biggest sport marketing agencies in the world. It's today, meanwhile, a French company, and they have, just to give you some overview in terms of size, they have a turnover of slightly around 1 billion euro per year.
Very nice.
Yeah. And they are managing.
It's worldwide.
Worldwide, yeah.
And across different sports.
Across different sports and across different kind of business models or business pillars which they are following.
So it's dealing with sponsorships, advertising.
Exactly. It's dealing with all kind of sports rights. It's dealing with sponsorship. So it's acting as a broker, selling sponsorship rights on behalf of football clubs, of federations or leagues. It's dealing with media rights, selling media broadcasting rights for television, for sports events all over the globe. And
in the time that you were employed by Sport 5, you spent some time with clubs that we know, places that we've heard of.
Yeah, I've been working on one project which was the Siemens Mobile project, where we had an annual budget of 80-90 million euro per year, which we were spending on sponsorship all across Europe. So I was for many years working with clubs like Real Madrid, the time of the Galacticos when they had Siemens Mobile on the shirt.
Wow, that must have been exciting.
With David Beckham and Ronaldo, and made some funny experience with those guys. But it was a great time.
What other projects do you remember, or clubs that you...
We had other teams that had Siemens on the chest as a main sponsor, Lazio Rome, Girondins Bordeaux, but also in Germany with Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Liverpool, Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain. So we had 24 clubs of the top end, so to say, in the European leagues, which were sponsored, and I was working for 3-4 years with them.
Yeah, so you knew what it looked like inside those clubs, and then you found yourself, for some reason, in this corner of the world. And tell us about the time you spent in Israel working with the Hitachdut, the IF. Was it the Luzon period?
Yeah, exactly. No, it was in 2007 when I was offered to run our project in our office here. When I say our, means Sport 5 that time. And I had been in Israel once or twice, so I knew the country, and I immediately said yes within an instance when I had the chance to go here, because I felt that is different to the big clubs in Europe, something where you can still develop new things and, see some progress and not just keep a wheel turning that is already perfectly running, like in Real Madrid.
It's a project. It's a challenge. Yes, it's something that can be built up.
In a beautiful country.
Naively, you thought so.
Yeah, a little bit maybe. No, but it was a great time. It was 2007, as you say. It was the time when Avi Luzon was president of the Hitachdut, and there was no Minhelet. So everything, the Israeli league, was under the Hitachdut in Israel. And I was in charge, together with my colleagues, of marketing the entire Liga Tal media rights in Israel, abroad, where there is little interest for Israeli football, obviously, and the national team. Sponsoring and also media rights.
Okay, so now we know a little bit about your background. I'll explain to my listeners. מי שמתקשה אולי להבין, דרק מספר לנו שהוא עבד כחלק מספורט 5, חברה בינלאומית, התנהל גם מול קבוצות שאנחנו מכירים כמו ריאל מדריד ולאציו, ענייני ספונסרים וזכויות שידור. הגיע לארץ, עבד מול ההתאחדות בתקופת אבי לוזון על זכויות שידור, המחשבה אולי על כדורגל ישראלי, ואם מישהו ירצה לצפות בו בחול, אמרנו בנאיביות שזה היה איזשהו אתגר לראות את זה מתפתח. היום אנחנו תכף נשמע מדרק שהוא קצת יותר מפוקח. Okay, we have about 15 or 20 minutes, and although I would love to hear all your thoughts about Israeli football in general and even Israeli professional sports in general, I want to be focused on Maccabi Haifa. That is the focus of us today. And I have 5 questions to lead this conversation, and just, fire away. Tell me what you think. First question is, as a person with your experience, like we just heard, if you look at Maccabi Haifa, what do you put in the plus column? What are the positives? What are the assets that this club has looking forward?
So first of all, it's the fans, clearly. I'm making a yearly study about Israeli sports and football and fan behavior and whatsoever.
This is you independently?
It's me doing it independently with my agency, and it's the biggest study about this topic. And this study shows that Maccabi Haifa has the biggest fan audience or the biggest fan group of any football club in Israel. So this is definitely the biggest asset. Yeah?
Yes.
So if you look at
number
football
one
club, yeah, clearly. There's always the argue if it's Maccabi Tel Aviv, but all the key research shows that Maccabi Haifa has the bigger amount of fans all over through the country, and they have particularly a huge fan base around in the north. So that is a huge asset, first of all. Secondly, the infrastructure. They dispose over the biggest and the most modern football stadium in the country. So they have 2 things which objectively for a football club, are the basis for
success.
For success and well-doing, especially if the other clubs don't have it.
On paper, so to say.
On paper. It's a fact,
אוקיי, אז אני אסביר את זה. שאלתי את דרק מה הפלוסים של מכבי חיפה, מה הנכסים. הוא הזכיר את הקהל והאצטדיון. קהל לפי מחקר שהוא מנהל עם הסוכנות שלו, מכבי חיפה עם קהל האוהדים הגדול בארץ, שזה אנחנו, כל הכבוד לנו. מכבי חיפה עם האצטדיון הטוב והמודרני בארץ, שני הדברים האלה בפלוסים. הוא הזכיר גם את הפריסה הטובה בצפון הארץ, עם כל האוכלוסיות שיש לנו שם. זה בטור של הפלוסים. And now, of course, the natural next question is, what do we put in the negative column? What are the main problems? I think it's one of the things... by the way, I wanted to ask you, I saw on your Facebook you reacted to the Yaakov Shachar long interview on ערוץ הספורט, and I know your Hebrew is kacha kacha, you said. Did you watch that in Hebrew, or
well,
you
I
had
was
somebody
to be honest.
translation?
I didn't watch the online or the TV broadcast. I was
Okay.
just reading the article on Ynet,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, to be honest, if this was a summary.
Yes.
And just a shortcut.
Okay, you got the
of
main things
but,
from.
I think I got the exact summary. Yeah.
Because one of the things that I felt listening to that is that everybody has so many ideas about what the problem is, the training, the buying players, the contracts, and so on. What do you put in that column, the main problems of the club?
Well, it's always hard to judge from outside, and
Yes.
I think it's not fair for anyone to be completely rather outside and then trying to make statements what needs to be changed. There's just some things that you can definitely judge from outside and see from outside. And rather than picking out certain single issues like question about the coach or this particular player should have not come or whatsoever, or training methods, I think what is apparent to me is that there is maybe a lack of a general attitude in terms of what the club actually stands for. And if you compare this now with the two clubs that were ruling in the last 5-6 years in Israel, Maccabi Tel Aviv and Beersheba, it's maybe more easy to explain what do they have at the moment.
Okay.
And I think they have a clear idea of what the club is standing for. So Maccabi Tel Aviv is obviously always demonstrating themselves as the market leader. We are best in class. We are the richest club. We are from Tel Aviv. And if you play this further, that means every player who's coming to Maccabi Tel Aviv knows, okay, I'm here with the expectation on me that we are winning the championship every year. That is clear from day one. And they have this clear philosophy to bring in foreigners, to be international, to be a leader in the league in all aspects, on the pitch, off the pitch. So, and I think this is something that has been transforming into the all DNA of the club.
Club identity,
I think
culture,
so.
the culture of the
yes,
club.
There is a clear target. They want to dominate even the game. That's what they're always saying. Jordi Cruyff is saying it always. We want to be dominant on the pitch. So that's a philosophy which they are demonstrating. And you can see that comparably also with Bayern Munich in Germany. They clearly say we are the number one. So, and that's a philosophy. That's a statement of the brand itself as a football club. And in Beersheba, on the opposite, you have something comparable, but in a different way. You have the outsiders from the south in the desert, and saying this without any disrespect. I'm clearly saying
it's a form of motivation.
They have this motivation. We want to show the guys in Tel Aviv what we can do here in the south. We are the rebellions. And
I'll stop you here and I'll say this. First of all, אני אסביר. דרק, שאלתי אותו מה הוא שם בטור של המינוסים של מכבי חיפה. הדבר הראשון שהוא מעלה זה נושא של זהות המועדון, ה-DNA של המועדון, שמכבי תל אביב יודעים שהם מספר אחד, שולטים, דומיננטיים. הפועל באר שבע באים מבחוץ, האוטסיידרים, האנדרדוג, וזה התרבות של המועדון. Interesting thing is that these two examples were the DNA of Maccabi Haifa for us as fans growing up, the 80s and 90s. We were the outsiders from the north, and we were the first, strictly European professional club with great success and dominating in the 1990s. So just saying we are this is never enough, is it?
No, it's not enough. And especially if I'm asking today, what does Maccabi Haifa stand for as a club? What makes it distinguishing it from Beta Jerusalem or any other club? Now leave political opinions aside, but as a terms of what the club stands for, as you said, it used to be, it stands for being very serious club and so on, but there is no special story behind it anymore. And what I feel is that this kind of no general strategic vision, no strategic general direction, that is something that is also going on into the squad of the team.
Yes.
So you can see that there is I don't see it. It's always easy to judge, but I don't see there the strategic vision, what this team should stand for.
And this is possibly a symptom of a managerial, structural problem, right?
That's what I exactly believe.
That's what we suspect. Without being inside.
That's what I believe. Yeah. I believe that in the end, any success comes from leadership, as a strategic management tool. And you see that at hand in Maccabi Tel Aviv and Beersheba. And I'm not sure if I see that from my point of view in Maccabi Haifa or other way around. If you ask me who's running this club at the moment, I cannot give you a certain answer on that one.
אז דרק אומר לנו פה בסגנון גרמני מאוד אלגנטי, מאוד בזהירות, הוא אומר לנו למה אין זהות למכבי חיפה, למה אין DNA ברור, בגלל שלא באמת ברור מי מנהל את מכבי חיפה, יכול להיות שיש כאן במבט מבחוץ איזושהי בעיה ניהולית, בעיה במבנה הארגוני של המועדון. Okay, we'll leave that now. I want to ask you this question as a person who's been around European clubs. This is not the first example in history of a big football club falling on 6 or 7 hard seasons. I don't know. Liverpool comes to mind. Some of the top Italian clubs have long dry spells. What can we learn from this scenario of big clubs, popular clubs, going into a natural, organic, low time?
Well, it's true what you're saying. There are always big clubs that, go through a crisis period, let's say. But what is maybe different here and where I tend to a little bit disagree is that Maccabi Haifa, other than those clubs, had in those times, important infrastructural changes with a new stadium.
Okay.
And usually in Europe, every club that is moving into a new stadium or a new infrastructure, especially with this kind of difference, is making a progress forward.
Yeah, experiences some blossom.
If you ask me now for any experience in the past in Europe where a team was improved by an infrastructure like a new stadium like in Haifa and then went through a crisis, which apparently, if you ask me, consists of the time that they are playing in the new stadium. I think it started pretty much.
Yes, maybe 1 or 2 seasons before, but since then, definitely.
So I have to say, to be honest, I don't see any comparable example.
You're saying that another club would be in a crisis mode and then build a new stadium and use that to get out of a crisis period.
Apparently every club is getting into a crisis, even the biggest ones.
Yes.
But the question is, or the difference is, usually they don't do this for 5-6 years, like Maccabi Haifa at the moment. If you compare it to the targets they have, and with having an improvement with a new stadium on top. So that's really, kind of painful or tough situation,
אומר דרק, יש פה באמת בשורות קשות, ניסינו להשוות את זה למשברים אחרים במועדונים גדולים שהוא מכיר, הוא אומר שקשה לחשוב על דוגמאות למועדונים שדווקא כשבונים אצטדיון גדול ויש תשתית חדשה, במקום לפרוח, הולכים אחורה, קצת מדכא, קצת מייאש. I'll ask you one more question in this area. I just saw you post something from the States. You were in an NFL team or something like that. Do you think there is something to be learned? I'm a big fan of American sports. Is there something to be learned, or maybe it's completely irrelevant, from professional sports in America, football, NBA, and so on?
I think so. Yeah, I think, this, even though you asked me not to answer this more general, but I think it applies to Maccabi Haifa, but also to other teams.
Okay.
And I think it's about having professionals running a club.
Okay.
And professionals means, by definition, and without being whatever disrespectful or anything, but a professional by definition is someone who has special skills, education or training in a certain topic or management function that he is operating in and is working in that full time and getting paid for it.
It's almost so obvious.
That's the question, is that the case?
And you're saying in your 10 years in Israel, looking around clubs, this is not the case in Israel.
I think that is one of the major problems in Israeli sports, is the leadership, the lack of leadership and the lack of a professional management structure in teams and leagues and federations. Because there are people operating clubs, leagues and federations who, if you look at their CVs, too often don't have any special background or experiences.
Yes.
That's often people coming from other business areas, which is fine, and that doesn't say anything about their intellectual skills.
Yeah.
But if you're operating a very specific or operating in a very specific industry like sports management, and you don't have any whatsoever experience or education related, then I believe it's very hard to be successful. Yeah? And I think that's unfortunately too often the case.
דרק אומר, בעיה אולי המרכזית בכלל בספורט הישראלי, זה חוסר מקצועיות ברמה הניהולית, כלומר מקצועיות, לא כהערכה של מישהו טוב יותר או פחות, פשוט מישהו שהוכשר לתפקיד מסוים, מוסמך לתפקיד מסוים, יש לו רקע וניסיון בזה, הוא לא בא מתחום אחר, הוא לא בא כי הוא חבר של חבר. I see you sometimes posting on Facebook about the culture in Israeli sports of just a buddy system. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, to be honest, that's too often. I mean, it's a small country, obviously, apparently there are two big centers, let's say Haifa, Tel Aviv, also Jerusalem, and people are connected and know each other. And my impression is that too often, people are put in positions because of rather non-professional interests in terms of knowing each other, being a friend, being associated with someone, rather than purely being chosen for rational reasons for what this person has been doing in the past or has been achieved in the past. Yeah. So that's a general impression, and I think I'm not alone when you have talks over a beer in a bar. Yes. That's what I hear from everyone. So
אומר דרק, יותר מדי חבר מביא חבר בכדורגל הישראלי, אנשים שמקבלים משרות במועדונים, לא בגלל הכישורים שלהם, אלא בגלל הקשרים שלהם. Okay, the final of these 5 questions, as I've said, and this is interesting, we can go on forever. In a hypothetical situation, I know you're not a general manager yourself, but if I gave you Maccabi Haifa to run, what would be the first steps you would take? I think about this myself, and I have no experience in the field, but I sometimes think what I would do if I could run this club. What do you have, just from the top of your head?
Well, obviously there are certain, management tools that you would have to apply when, taking over a new entity, or in this regard a football club, but I think that's not where you are targeting. It would be probably too boring answers. But now going into technical details.
What do you mean? You changing organizational structure, you mean?
No, obviously you have to
fire everybody.
No, you have to definitely look into all aspects of the club, analyze where they are standing. But if you ask me what would be probably one of the first operative things I would do, beside the professional team, I would try to work out the identity of the club as the guiding strategic vision, what this club should stand for, and what is the DNA of this football club, what it stands for. And following and subsequently from that, I would take all other decisions, including who's the coach, who are the players. Is it rather a young, aggressive, dynamic team with players foremost from the region to have this identity of being the club of the North?
Is it an Ajax? Is it a Bayern München?
Or do I just have the intention to bring the best foreigners? Or do I, it defines everything, the style of play, and subsequently it also defines which kind of coach, which kind of manager you have. But I think this is the step you have to do before.
Yeah, and it's just sitting around and thinking. It's just or doing research and coming to a conclusion. It now,
or the other way around, explaining it the other way around. Now it seems to me like really like picking and being like not acting strategically, but really rather being driven from day-to-day situations.
No long-term
Okay, now what
plans.
Kind of coach we need now? Yes. Now, which player we need now? So, and this guy is free. This one is set out from Maccabi Tel Aviv. So let's just pick him. That seems to me not to follow too well a strategic general guideline, but it's just
very generous.
Just opportunities. Okay, let's close this one now.
שאלתי דרק מה הוא היה עושה במצב דמיוני שהוא מנהל את מכבי חיפה, ולצד, שם בצד את כל הדברים המקצועיים שאנחנו מכירים, ואומר דבר ראשון, מישהו צריך לשבת ולהחליט מה הזהות של המועדון הזה, איזה מין מועדון אנחנו, מה הערכי היסוד, ואז כל החלטה בהמשך היא נגזרת מזה. כרגע הוא אומר מכבי חיפה אין שום, או אין מראית עין של חשיבה לטווח רחוק, רק טווח קצר, איזה מאמן אנחנו צריכים עכשיו, איזה שחקן אנחנו צריכים עכשיו, ולא על העתיד. Very good points. I mean, I think past this week with the Shachar interview and a few things that are coming out of the club, I think after a long time, the fans too are starting to realize that the problems start very much at the top. And I think there's people are concerned and thinking about the future of the club, that maybe it won't be a Yaakov Shachar club, that maybe Maccabi Haifa will belong to someone else. I wonder if there's anything you can say, and we'll leave it, that's our final point for today, that you can think of what the future might hold for this club in terms of ownership and leadership.
Well, ownership, first of all, one thing is pretty clear. I think someone like Yaakov Shachar deserves the utmost respect, and for what he has been doing and contributing to this club. That's absolutely amazing, and I'm truly convinced that without him, there would be probably no football like this in Haifa.
Very true.
So,
very true.
It's always easy then to blame in such directions, which I would never do. So
I did.
I think,
it's okay. It's
yeah,
me.
no. But I think in terms of leadership, there has to be a kind of dramatic change. You have to, there were once don't know if the quote is from Tim Cook or from. Actually from Steve Jobs, who said, bring in good people and then get out of their way. So I think, and these kind of structures would have to been set up prior the club, maybe, I don't know, sold one day, which apparently is
on the table, is on
the table, as you mentioned. I don't know.
Okay.
So whatever.
If you find us a good buyer, we're interested. Dirk Schluenz, I'm very glad to have you here. My sources told me that when you came to Israel 10 years ago, you were wearing a suit and you were clean shaven. Now you moved on to sweaters and you have a little bit of zifim. But we're glad to have you in Israel, and I think I'll invite you to come again, and we'll talk about more general things, or maybe Maccabi Haifa will get better. And we'll talk about that.
After the rain comes the sun, so can only go
like
up,
that.
and I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will happen either way. Yeah.
תודה רבה.
בבקשה.
No.